So obviously the problem for many businesses, how do you stay afloat? Now on the flip side here, if your business is doing well, which is good, right? But question is, how can you avoid debt in a climate like this wherein businesses are down, right? And if you need to borrow money, where can you go to? If you go to your local bank, is it easy to borrow banks and so forth? Well, not according to the article here. So entrepreneurs are avoiding debt or cannot borrow either of the two during this crisis. Now, obviously, it's not easy to what they call this to easy to survive in this difficult climate, but you have to make do with what you have. And if you're a thriving business in this difficult climate, kudos for you, right? But if you try to borrow money, like in the case of Abdul Candelario, he tried to borrow $500,000 from the bank so he could expand his Korean barbecue businesses and capitalize on the booming food delivery service, which is one of the few industries that are doing really, really well. So if you can capitalize on that, then you need to maximize it. But as in the case, when he tried to make a loan, it was rejected. So he had to use his savings to keep the business smaller so that, it is what it is. Maybe you have to wait a year or two, or not just a year, maybe 6 months down the line, and maybe you can borrow from the bank now. And it was stated that even though his business was doing great, they still have to use their savings because it was hard to get the loan, and savings they could finally build a physical store here. Now, obviously, it's not the case for everyone here. Now, obviously, majority of businesses here in our country are considered micro SMEs or micro, small, medium enterprises. So it's not easy to borrow from the bank, especially if you're not a corporation. So there's no assurance that if you were to borrow money, how can banks know that you're going to repay your uh, bills there? So let's see, where is it? There you go. Now, obviously, it's always ideal to borrow from the bank, but amid the record low interest, they're still conservative and obviously afraid of losing money, of the risk of what do you call this? Yeah, uncertainty of businesses. When businesses do close, then they have a big problem here. Anyway, so what's the best solution here? So obviously, government has to step in to encourage government, the banks, financial institution to lend money to even small businesses. Obviously, because if a big part of our economy is relying on 99.5% of our economy is based on micro SMEs, then shown government, financial institutions work together to find some medium way to help those businesses survive and even grow as a business. Because if they are to succeed, grow to from small to medium to large corporation, I think everyone wins at the end of the day. Businesses wins, banks wins, the economy wins, everybody wins. And that's something that we can look forward to. Wait here. Now, obviously, the banks are being prudent, as they call it. Even small banks have tightened their lending standards to better manage the risk, which is, understandable. On the other hand, there are some businesses who wants to expand and borrow money can't. On this case, we have Daryl Abueva, who is a businessman who runs a billboard company, is being offered loans by several banks, but he's rejecting it, right? Because obviously, you don't want to go rely heavily on debt. You want to manage your debt equity ratio in terms of, you want to have cash flow versus majority of your business in debt and so forth. So, it's a decision making that, that's important for any individual or any businesses that you have here. So it's not just about making a loan from from the bank. It's what you will use it for. Is it to expand, grow the business, then so forth. And obviously, it's not an easy solution. There's no right or wrong answer here. But once you make a commitment, it's not as easy as it looks. So you have to be very careful, not just borrow money and there's no assurance that are you able to repay it, right? Obviously, you have to do the financial computation already ahead of time and make a compelling reason. Is it what you really need, or maybe you need to offer a different service? Maybe you need to do something else. It's not just acquiring more debt and so forth. And for many businesses, that are struggling, obviously, focusing on the digital economy is one of the key ways to survive this critical juncture. For those who have invested heavily in the online platform, have reaped the benefits, right? And for those who not, are having a difficult time or are struggling tremendously.